Perseus, Sam Worthington, the demigod son of Zeus, Liam Neeson, now lives as a fisherman with his 10-year-old son, Helios, John Bell, 10 years after defeating the Kraken. One night, Perseus is visited by Zeus, who informs him that the gods' powers are fading and the walls of Tartarus' underworld prison are crumbling due to human indifference, and that they will need the world's armies to combat the potential threat, but Perseus shows little interest and refuses to get involved. Zeus then journeys to Tartarus to meet his brothers Hades, Ralph Fiennes, and Poseidon, Danny Houston, as well as his son Ares, Edgar Ramirez. He convinces Hades that they must put the past behind them and work together to rebuild Tartarus, but Hades orders his minions to attack. They badly wound Poseidon, and Ares betrays Zeus by kidnapping him and stealing his thunderbolt for showing Perseus more devotion. Hades and Ares intend to drain Zeus' power in order to resurrect Kronos, the father of Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, in exchange for the immortality of the two. Tartarus' barriers crumble, releasing creatures into the globe. Perseus leads Helios to the Mount of Idols to talk with Zeus after fighting a chimera that assaults his village, but the dying Poseidon appears instead. He informs Perseus that Hades and Ares have imprisoned Zeus in Tartarus and instructs him to meet with his demigod son Agenor, Toby Kebbell, in order to locate the fallen deity Hephaestus, who knows the route inside Tartarus. Poseidon subsequently hands over his trident to Perseus before dying to his wounds and collapsing into dust. Perseus rides Pegasus to Queen Andromeda's army's camp. Andromeda, Rosamund Pike, imprisons Agenor for stealing the crown jewels, but Perseus frees him. Perseus, Andromeda, Agenor, and a group of soldiers set out to find Hephaestus, with Agenor explaining that Hephaestus created the three great weapons wielded by Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon: Zeus' thunderbolt, Hades' pitchfork, and Poseidon's trident, which when combined form the Spear of Triumph, the only weapon capable of defeating Kronos. Agenor uses Poseidon's trident to guide the boat to Hephaestus Island, where they are attacked by three Cyclopes. When Perseus gives them the trident, it leads them to Hephaestus, Bill Nighy, the smith god, who has been stripped of most of his almighty authority for joining with Hades after betraying the Olympians 10 years before. He explains that he has a map that will help him find his way inside Tartarus. He brings them to the entrance to the labyrinth, where Ares attacks them after Corinna prays to him. While Hephaestus opens the entrance, Ares kills most of the soldiers and Corinna before sacrificing himself so that Perseus, Andromeda, and Agenor might enter before it closes. Agenor tries to use the map to guide them, but the labyrinth constantly moves and nearly crushes them at one point. Perseus is separated from the rest of the group and encounters and kills the Minotaur. The party eventually reunites outside of Tartarus. Meanwhile, Zeus' might has been nearly depleted as Kronos begins to arise. Zeus apologizes to Hades and asks for his forgiveness, just as Hades has forgiven Zeus for his actions. Hades changes his mind and decides to assist Zeus in defeating Kronos, but Ares intervenes. When Perseus comes, he uses his trident to rescue Zeus. Ares slams Hades' pitchfork into Zeus' back as they flee. Perseus, Andromeda, Agenor, and Hades transport a weakened Zeus to the mountain's foot, where Andromeda's army has assembling. Perseus combines the trident and Hades' pitchfork, but the spear still requires Zeus' thunderbolt, which Ares still has. Perseus prays to Ares and challenges him to a combat at the Temple of the Gods, which Ares agrees to. Perseus discovers at the temple that Ares has kidnapped Helios, who was brought to watch Perseus die. Ares easily defeats Perseus, but he is distracted when Helios challenges him by pointing a sword at him, allowing Perseus to defeat him. Perseus then smashes Ares with Zeus' thunderbolt and joins the weapons of the gods to form the Spear of Triumph. Meanwhile, Andromeda's army is defeated by Kronos' army of Machae, but Hades arrives to resurrect Zeus, and the two use what power they have left to vanquish the army, which has slain the majority of Andromeda's troops. Kronos suddenly arrives and begins to fight them, prompting Zeus and Hades to defend them while also allowing Perseus to soar right down Kronos' throat. Kronos fires one final volley, and Zeus bears the brunt of the blow to protect Hades. Perseus plunges the spear of Triumph into Kronos' stomach, killing him for good. Perseus encounters Zeus and Hades. Zeus commends Perseus for his bravery, explaining that the god's time has passed before turning to dust. Before walking away, Hades admits that he is mortal and that he would be better off as such. Perseus kisses Andromeda after reuniting with her. Perseus resolves to train Helios as a soldier because there are still titans to fight.